Hello students, today I am going to start a new chapter. The name of the chapter is A Helpless Situation, written by Mark Twain. In the previous class, I have given the summary of the whole chapter. I hope you have listened to that. And today I am going to take the chapter and I will give it explanation line by line. Okay? So, A Helpless Situation by Mark Twain. Once or twice a year, I get a letter of certain pattern. A pattern that never materially changes in form and substance, yet I cannot get used to that letter. It always astonishes me. Okay, so the writer says that in a year, once or twice, I get a letter of certain pattern. The letter pattern never changes, he says this. Okay, a pattern that materially changes in form and substance. Yet, I cannot get used to that letter. So I am not sure, I don't know what kind of letter it is. It is the same pattern. Once or twice a year I get such kind of letter. It always astonishes me. Astonishes me means here, it always surprises me. It always gives me a surprise. Okay. So it affects me as a locomotive always affects me. Locomotive means a train engine. It comes in my mind again and again, that letter, the pattern of the letter, very often it comes to my mind. That is what it says. I says to myself, I have seen you 1,000 times. You always look the same way, yet you are always a wonder and you are always impossible to contrive. You make it clearly beyond human genius. He says that I get a letter of such pattern every year, but it upsets me. It gives me a lot of surprise. What kind of letter which I am receiving this? Okay, you are always a wonder, and it gives me a kind of wonder, and you are always impossible. It contrive means here to make up. You can't exist. You don't exist, yet you are here. So I have a letter of that kind by me, a very old one. So once I got a letter of such kind, I aim to print it. I want to print it. And where is the harm? The writer is asking, where is the harm if I print out that letter? The writer of it is dead years ago. He says that the letter which I got, that writer is already dead and gone, and I feel there is no harm in writing back. Okay, it doesn't feel that particular person is no more on the earth and the person won't feel anything. Okay, no doubt. And if I conceal her name and address, her this world address, I am sure her shade will not mind. So the writer says that I have a letter of that kind by me, a very old one. I yearn to print it. I want to print it. And where is the harm? There is no harm for printing that letter or giving a reply of that letter. And the writer of it is dead and gone years ago. And no doubt, and if I conceal her name and address, this world address, I am sure her shade will not mind. Her shadow also will not be minding or hurting. Okay, that is the way the writer says here. And with it, I wish to print the answer. And with this opinion, as I started to print the letter, which I wrote at the time by, probably did not send. But I have written a reply for her, but I have not yet sent till now, the writer is saying. Okay, and if it went, which is not likely, it went in the form of a copy, for I find the original still here. pigeonholed with the set letter. That means put aside. I just kept aside the letter which she has wrote to me. To that kind of letters, we all write the answer which we send, we do not send, fearing to hurt where we have to desire to hurt. I have done it many times, and this is doubtless a curse of a sort. So I have written a reply for that particular letter, but I haven't send it till now. But I have no fear of sending that reply for her. But I know that she is no more. She is dead and gone in much early. So I'm not frightened of sending reply for her. So in the next line we see the letter which he has received, okay, from the lady. The letter is a quite lengthy letter, okay. So we will read that letter right now. The letter, and the address is mentioned here. X, California, June 3, 1879. Mr. S.L. Clements, Hartford, Kent. Dear sir, you will doubtless be surprised to know who has presumed to write and ask a favor from you. So the lady is very nicely, she has written the letter respecting, dear sir, you will not be doubtless. I feel that you may not be doubt who is this person, and you will not be surprised to know who has presumed to write and ask a favor from you. I am writing this letter. I want to ask a favor from you. Okay, let your memory go back to your days in the Humboldt mines 60 to 63. You will remember you and Claggett and Oliver and the old blacksmith Tilov lived in a lean-to which was halfway up the clutch, and there were 6 log cabins in the camp, strung pretty well, separated up the clutch from its mouth at the desert to where the last claim was at the divide. So in this letter, she is telling the writer, you just go back to the years back, 60 to 63. Okay, a long years back, they were nearly 16 years back. What happened? I will just give you to make you to memorize that time what happened in with you in the Humboldt mines. Okay. So you were living in a lean-to. Lean-to means here a shelter with a single roof. How many were there with you? Your friends Claggett, Oliver and Tilov. You 3 were there living in that Humboldt mines 60 to 63. You just recall the incident. At that time, I hope I am writing this letter to make you to recall the event what happened in those years. Okay? And here, the lean-to you lived in the one with the canvas tent roof that the cow fell down through one night, and as told by you in a roughing it. So when you are living in that lean-to, what happened? One night a cow fell down, and my uncle Simon remembers it very well. My uncle Simon, he remembers all the incident very well, and he has told us. Okay, he lived in the principal cabin halfway up the divide along with the Dixon and Parker and Smith. So my uncle Simon also was living with you. He lived in a principal cabin, the main cabin, and how many were with him? 3 were with him, Dixon, Parker and Smith. All of them were with him. And it had 2 rooms, 1 kitchen and the other 4 bunks. Bunks means 1 for kitchen and 1 for sleeping. And was the only one that they had. They had only one room for a bedroom, and the other one was kitchen. Okay, you and your party were there on the great day, the time they had dried apple pie. So what were you eating at that time? dried apple pie you were eating. You please recall the incident what happened. He is just making him to recall the incident what happened in 16 years back and telling all these incident to him. And Uncle Simon often speaks of it. Very often he speaks to us this incident, what happened in those years. It seems curious, and dried apple pie should have seemed such a great thing, and how slim the regular bill of fare was. So that time we were very in a difficult condition to cope up with life, and we had only the dried apples, and also it was it shows how far Humboldt was, and out of the world it was difficult to get anything for them. So they were away from the city, they could only get the dried apples. Okay. I was very little then, I was very young. How old she was that time? Only 14 years old. And I never saw you. I lived Washoe. I have never seen you, but I have heard about you from my uncle. All these things had happened with you. And where I was living in Washoe. Okay. But my Uncle Simons ran across you every now and then, all during those weeks that you and party were working your claim, which was like the rest. So my Uncle Simon was very close friend of you, and every now and then he used to come to you for something or the other. The camp played out a long ago. There wasn't silver enough in it to make a button. That's a phrase, okay, here. A silver enough in it to make a button. That means they were living in such a condition, they had a scarcity of money, very less money they had. Okay, you never saw my husband, but he was there after you left. My husband also was there, and you have not seen him. After you left the place, he came there for work. Okay, and lived that very lean to bachelor then, but married to me now. At that time he was a bachelor, and now he married me. He often wishes there had been photographer there in those days, and he would taken the lean-to. At that time there was no photographer at all. He wanted to take a photo of that lean-to, but never happened. Okay, so he got hurt in the old Falkland claim that was abandoned like the others, putting in the blast and not climbing up quickly enough, though he scrambled the best he could. While he was bombing the blast, he was met with an accident, and he was also injured. Okay, that is what she says here. But nothing much happened. It landed him clear down on the train and hit a pirate. For weeks he could get over it, but he did it and is all right now. So he took a little time to recover himself. He was injured in the blast, and for some time, a few months he took to recover himself. He has been ever since. This is a long introduction, but it is only way I can make myself known. So this is a quite long letter introducing herself to that the writer, telling about what happened in 16 years back. Okay, so the favor I ask, I feel assured your great generous heart will grant. She is telling that I am going to ask a favor. I hope you will grant my favor. Give me some advice about a book I have written. So what is the favor she is going to ask? I have written a book. Okay, and I am going to ask you something now. I do not claim anything for it, only it is mostly true and as interesting as most of the book of the times. I am unknown in the literary world, and you know what that means unless one has some or one influence. to help you by speaking a good word of you. I would like to place the book on a royalty basis, plan with anyone you could suggest. So here she is asking the requester to publish her book. She is telling that I am unknown in the literary world, and you know very well that I am very young, and this is my first book which I have written. I have a great desire to publish this book. So if you have anybody, any publisher in your knowledge, you please recommend my book for him, and I will be so grateful to you. That is why I wrote all this lengthy letter, to make you aware of what had happened in the past, and you and my uncle were grateful. So what she is doing here, she is recommending for her book to him to go to a publisher to publish her book. Okay, this is a secret from my family and my husband. I intend it as a surprise in case I get it published. So I kept it everything in a secret from my family. After publishing my book, I will tell everybody. Feeling you will take an interest in this and it is possible, write me a letter to some publisher, or better still, if you could see them for me and then let me hear. I appeal to you, grant me this favor. With the deepest gratitude, I thank you for your attention. That's a very politely she has written the letter. Very and giving everything in a details. Okay, children. So we have finished half of the chapter, and if you have not followed or you want more explanation, you can take the summary which I have given in the previous class. Okay, you will listen to that and understand the lesson and learn the question answer and prepare for the exam. Okay, thank you for listening.